So, I'm coming to you all on behalf of the Will Project, which is a program that I have had um, I don't know, the pleasure of working on in the last year or so. And I'm working on it with a co-worker by the name of Mariah Iverson, who is from the medical college originally. And another guy by a Paul, I forget Paul's last name, forgive me. But anyways, the project is based around minority men who have been injured through gun violence and who have suffered spinal cord injuries, because we come to find out that these are some of the most underserved citizens / populations in our society. And it's based upon dealing with a situation which changes your whole life. Me, myself, I was shot. I've been in the chair now for about over 20 years. And the impact of losing your mobility to walk, etc., it can be devastating for most people, and it is. It was devastating for me. And when I was injured, there was no program like this in place for me to, go to and get like some kind of comfort or able to talk to someone who is dealing with the same issues that I may be dealing with. So we had some guys who have been injured through gun violence come in, and they went through this 8-week program that we did last year. And the program was based around activity, because we come to find out that in these situations, most of the guys who end up injured, their activity decreases, which only, shortens, actually their life expectancy, their ability to get out, and we know stress can lead to depression and so forth. And sometimes you just get stuck in a place where you're just not living life, you're just living, but you're not living life. And I have been helped, because after I got injured and after I got over depression and wanted to die and stuff like that, I had the opportunity to, form friendships with my therapist. And I was at a point where, I spent like 3 years in the house because I was depressed. And I wouldn't go out and I wouldn't do anything. But one of the major things that helped me is that I removed myself from the environment that I had been in, and I was able to make friendships with my therapist, and I hung out with them. And even though they didn't have spinal cord injuries and stuff like that, they dealt with people with spinal cord injuries on a regular basis. Because here in Milwaukee, Freighter Hospital has a specialty unit, the spinal cord injury floor. And when you're dealing with therapists on a regular basis, even though I was very mean and angry to my therapist didn't treat me like I was just another patient. Like, they put up with a lot of my shit, and they actually showed me that they cared about me, which in turn made me say to myself, whenever I get back to a place of happiness, that it was my duty to share my experience with other people and also help other people out who may be dealing with these issues. So the workshops we did, they were 8 weeks, and we gave the guys the opportunity to pick between, we're doing activity, exercise, and there was photography, artwork, or whatever, the baby, because we all know that, when you have an illness or pre-existing conditions, or especially when it comes to spinal cord injuries, medication doesn't fix the issue. And that's for any, illness that someone has. Yes, medication can help cure some of the issues you have, but mentally, you end up in a place, especially when it's almost like you could have died from the situation. And then if you don't take care of yourself and you do the things that are necessary for you to continue to strive in this society, that your life expectancy can be short, especially if you don't know the right foods to eat. If you just leave the hospital and you go back into the life where you were living, where you were, just living, I don't know, unhealthy, not in a stable mental place. Because you got to think about it. Just think about how we as a society, we glorify violence. And we act like, people say, oh, I'm a gangster because I shot this person. That's not shooting someone. I can give a 5-year-old a gun and shoot and kill somebody. That doesn't make you gangster. But I don't want to go too far off. But in the guys chose for the art platform to do photography, and photography turned into the guys taking pictures of each other, and then we took the pictures that they took and we put them on like poster board, where they were able to make artwork out of the boards, and they put like words and other pictures that describe their life. But what we found out in the midst of doing this is that there was a bunch of barriers that the guys were facing that were stopping them from being productive, whether it had to do with going and getting to the doctor on a regular basis, getting in and out the house if the house was accessible or not, getting over depression, getting over PTSD, getting over things that they normally wouldn't face with before the accident or before whatever incident that happened that caused their predicament. And we had these conversations. In the midst of these conversations, we formed a bond with each other. And this is just, you're sitting around with guys who really literally know exactly what you're going through. And these are not conversations that are structured in any way. The guys spoke freely. I spoke freely with each other, and we laughed and we talked. And as the process went on, you can just see the guys opening up. You can see the guys looking at their situation not as bad, because you had so many different situations that you can compare your life to, and you can say to yourself, well, if this person is doing this, I'm doing this. So I even got something out of this, and I've been in the chair longer than most of the guys have been. But just the whole thing of the camaraderie that we built, and then at the end of the sessions, the guys got paid a little money here and there, and they actually became employed through the medical college, so we can complete other rounds of this project with other members and hopefully do the same thing. So and I would say that I don't do anything if I don't think it's productive, because I think my time is valuable, and not just because I'm on the project, I'm promoting it. I think this is like really, really needed. And then after we build on this can be used for any other people with illness, regardless of what it may be. Because we all know that medicine, for the most part, all it does is mask over the problem. It doesn't fix it. And, a lot of guys don't like talking to people about, especially African American men, don't like talking to people about how they really and truly feel. And because it makes you vulnerable. But you're in a space with guys who will understand like how you feel, open up, and you can be honest with us and talk. And I mean, it's not, excuse my language, this is not like a bunch of bullshit. I wouldn't even be promoting it if it wasn't. So now I'm trying to get this out here more to the public so we can get more guys involved. And this is just in Milwaukee now, but the goal is to branch this out all over the country, because in all these different cities where all this violence is going on, one thing that people don't realize is that, gun violence doesn't just equal death. Sometimes there's a gray area in the spinal cord injuries, and then you just got another subculture who is dealing with a lot of the issues of poverty, ability to find work, just the ability to go out and socialize. And you end up building up this shell, and some guys even go to jail after their injuries, because they go right back to the same thing. So the goal is to get guys to come in. We sit down and have real conversations. Nothing is off limits. and they can share and talk to people who are dealing with the same thing that they're dealing with. Even if, it's not something that may be in the forefront of your mind at the point in time and you're dealing with it, but then when you go home and you have these issues and you say to yourself, oh, if it wasn't for my disability, I would be able to do this and I do that. And I can honestly say that me being shot and having a spinal cord injury actually made me a better person, because it first off taught me patience, and it also gave me the opportunity to sit back and look at my life and say, what did I do to bring this on, and now that it's here, what can I do to continue to strive and be productive? So if anyone sees this and you want to share it with anybody on the social media page or whatever, please do. The workshops have started up again, and we want as many people to participate in as possible. You can direct them to our social media page. It's The Real Project on Facebook, and also The Real Project on Instagram. And you can get in contact with us through those outlets, or you can just email me or DM me on Facebook or Instagram, and hopefully you will find this as being something productive for you to come in and participate. It doesn't cost anything, and they're usually 3 sessions. You pay $20 a session, which ends up being $60, but I think the camaraderie and the conversations that you'll get from these workshops, and the opportunities you will probably receive at the end of the workshops is well worth it and well worth your time. So on that note, I'm signing off from The Real Project, and I hope to hear from you soon, and thank you very much.